Hey, deserving listeners, 90 Day Fiancé, happily ever after. Let's watch the show. I'm going to react.
I have done so much and literally I'm so mentally drained and exhausted and over it. Why can't you guys just find a common ground?
So, блядь, let them kiss my ass now. I'm not doing this.
So, wow, Andrei and Charlie are made for each other. They are exactly alike in this way. And neither one of them is going to budge, and she's stuck in the middle. She's trying to help both of them, particularly Andrei. I think she could do better by laying this out differently so that he really understands what's going on. I think if she said, look, honey, I want us to succeed. I want you to work for my dad. Your dad wants you to work for him. Charlie is starting to open up a little bit, and if you can get him on your side, at least kind of, if you can just kind of make up a little bit, then we are off and running. You're going to work for my dad, and everything's going to be golden for us. And all it comes down to is you just swallowing your pride a little bit and making up with him. And I'm on your side. I support you. He is a jerk face sometimes. You've been a jerk face sometimes. But I'm on your side, and I stuck up for you, and but it would mean a lot to me because I want this. I don't want the chaos anymore. I don't want the drama anymore, and I want you to succeed in life. And the way this is looking is that unless you and Charlie make up, then Dad won't hire you and won't let you work. So it really is a big deal. And it's a big deal to me. It would mean a lot to me. And I know that you're upset at him, and I know that he hurt you, and I know you feel threatened by him. And I understand. And if you don't want to make up with him, then I guess you're just going to have to look for a different job. So something like that might have helped him understand the landscape a little better. I don't know if it would have changed his demeanor, but let's see how they deal with this.
Like Charlie or somebody over there. Charlie's a nobody over there, but in the company.
I think that
And I'm not working with Charlie.
you're going to work with
No, I'm not
Charlie
working with
because
Charlie,
he works
babe.
with my dad.
I'm not doing that stuff, Lip.
Okay, so you don't want to do it. It's totally fine. And that means you can't work for her father. That's okay. You don't have to work for her father. You don't have to follow his rules. You can find your own career and your own job. So, that's fine. It's weird that he thinks that he can dictate what the father is doing. Essentially he's saying, look, I want to work for the dad. Chuck, I want to work for you, and I want you to give me a $100,000 loan, and I've never done this sort of work before, and I'm going to tell you how you're going to work. I'm going to tell you that I'm going to tell you what my requirements are for this. It just is an interesting way of, proposing a business deal with somebody.
They were talking about me at the family business meeting. There's no absolutely way we can work together, and that's why I want to start my own business. I just want to prove to Chuck as fast as I can whatever it needs to be done to get my 100K, and so I don't have to work with them and I don't need any of this drama.
Okay, great. That's great. So you're not going to work for them, and you're going to start your own business. And, well, wait. So you're saying wait, did I understand? So I thought what he was saying is he's going to start his own business, work on his own, and then maybe later, once he's successful, he will ask the father for money. But actually what I think he's saying is, no, I'm going to start my own business, and I'm going to prove to the father, and soon the father is going to give me $100,000. Even though the father has said that in order for him, even though the father said he's not going to give me $100,000 and he's going to hire me as a worker, and as a part of that, I need to work with his family. And I refuse to do that. It's just a really, what is going on in his head? So I've been wondering this from the beginning, because he seems so irrational about career, at least what we've seen on the show. And the only hypothesis that I've been working with this whole time is that he somehow feels that he can't succeed on his own, maybe, because, he's an able-bodied guy. There's a lot of different career paths he could take, I would assume. He's in another country, but he's been in the United States for, I think, a couple years. It takes a long time, but, you can go to trade school. You can work your way up the ladder somewhere. You could try to find a job in tech or something, or maybe a translator for Moldovan language, or I don't know. There's opportunities. You figure it out. And I think he did. I think he had some jobs, and he, of course, worked at home. He was a homemaker. He, was a stay-at-home dad, which, is a hard job for people. But anyway, my hypothesis, because he just seems to be so self-destructive and naive about careers, even though back in Moldova, he had a career as a police officer. He had a job in Ireland as a bouncer, presumably. That's what he says. And so he's capable, but what's going on with him? The hypothesis I've been working with is that he doesn't really believe he can succeed. I think, believes that he needs someone to help him. I think he believes he cannot do it on his own, and there's no point in trying. And so that would explain a few things. I, of course, have no idea, but that would explain a few things. I also think that he is pathologically optimistic. I used that phrase in a previous episode because he needs to believe that things are going to work out because he's so desperate for things to work out. And so he just convinces himself. It's sort of like the opposite of denial or a version of denial. You just psychologically go into this space that feels good because the alternative feels so bad. I think he's trying to cover up this feeling of I'm a failure, I'm always going to be a failure, nothing's ever going to work out, and everyone knows I'm a failure. And maybe that's why he's so triggered by Elizabeth's family, who thinks of him as a failure and as a loser. And he then very quickly convinces himself, no, everything's going to work out. Everything's going to be fine because I need it to be fine. He seems to exhibit that. I don't know. It's the only hypothesis I have that explains why he acts the way that he does.
I'm over it, okay?
Okay, don't tell me these stories, but you're getting stuck in the middle. You're literally defending yourself.
It's not a story, it's
and
reality.
If I would be there, I would
stuck
defend
in the
you.
middle.
Whatever you have to do now, do it in the name of us. You don't have to think about us. You're not married to them. You're married to me.
This
and that's what you
entire
have to do.
time.
Yeah, Elizabeth is holding it together pretty well right now, I would say, under the circumstances. He is accusing her of not being on his side, and she has been on his side from the beginning of this whole episode, right, where she went over to the family house. And then he says to her, don't cry right now. Don't cry. That's not a nice thing to say to someone. What's wrong with someone crying when they need to cry? So, uncool. All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.